Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas and happy holidays, all you friends, true believers, and newcomers alike. I'm Superfly Comics Guy, and what better way to celebrate the holiday season than by taking a look at the Batman Noel Deluxe Edition by Lee Bermejo. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing today as a nice little Christmas special for everybody here. We'll be taking a look at the cover, the spine, the contents collected, the build quality, and of course a quick little flip through, because this is a short book, of the story where I can share my thoughts, opinions, and recommendations. So if you enjoy the video at any point, you know how to show it. Feel free to leave your own thoughts down below. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's dive into this appropriately festive critique on Batman. Let's go. Okay, so first off, we've got the dust jacket to this Batman Noel Deluxe Edition. Now, I call it a Deluxe Edition because it has the same dimensions as an omnibus, but nowhere does it actually say Deluxe Edition, but I promise it does have the same size. This is the only cover available. This very gorgeous image by Lee Bermejo. If you've not seen Lee Bermejo's style before, man, you're in for a treat. So here is the spine. Batman Noel by Lee Bermejo, DC Comics. And then the back. This is a wraparound cover, so I will show you that in a little bit. But here we go. So this collects the entire Batman Noel short story, I guess you could call it. Written and gorgeously rendered by Lee Bermejo, Batman Noel tells a Christmas carol of a different sort. So that should be one of your first hints. We got a cover price of $23 US, $27 Canadian. I ended up picking this up off of Amazon US because I believe that's the only place I could find that actually had this like deluxe edition size for this book. Anyway, let me show you the wraparound cover I was alluding to before. Oh, so good. Such a cool art style. This very angry Batman on the cover. That plays into the story a little bit. Got statues of Catwoman and Superman and a familiar face that you might recognize. But all right, let's have a look under the dust jacket here. Now, unfortunately, under the dust jacket is not as impressive as the dust jacket itself, because we just got this very boring kind of green construction paper-esque material for the board. It's very similar to that like black material that DC sometimes uses for their omnibuses, but they just colored it green here. I don't know, maybe to make it more Christmassy. But all right, let's start taking a flip through. Okay, so taking a quick look through the Batman Noel Deluxe Edition. Got some red bookend pages here. So, you know, red and green, Christmas colors. It's appropriate. I'm going to try to keep this flip through very, very short because this is a pretty short story, so I don't want to give away spoilers. We do have a foreword here by Jim Lee, the man himself, talking a little bit about Lee Bermejo and how if you haven't seen Lee Bermejo's style, you're going to be blown away by this book. Like, oh, let's just flip through some pages here so you can get an idea. He's got this like delightfully gothic style. I don't want to call it like realistic because it is certainly stylized. You can see like that great silhouette of Batman there. Like, it is kind of realistic, but also not in a way. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But Lee Bermejo, what's kind of cool about him is that like he always draws characters his way. So this is very much like his design for Batman there, with that like armored looking suit, kind of leathery looking. It's funny. It's like no matter what the context is of a story, like let's say Lee Bermejo was brought in to draw an issue of Batman or something, no matter what costumes Batman's supposed to be wearing in that story, Lee Bermejo will just be like, nah, I'm just going to draw him this way. This is my Batman. So I always kind of appreciated that about him. But anyway, this story here, Batman Noel, set during Christmas and is very, very heavily based. Well, it's basically a retelling of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, but with Batman characters. Now, the story, there was a story in the Batman Haunted Night set that did something similar to this, but this story definitely goes more in depth on the whole Christmas Carol stuff. So you know that story about Ebenezer Scrooge being an old miser, not treating his workers well, not letting them go home for Christmas, and being completely devoid of Christmas spirit. This is kind of similar, except we're not talking about Scrooge here. We're talking about Batman, and how Batman is this, in this story, opens up with this, he's this horribly, not very compassionate, very violent, very cold character. And to the point where even Alfred's commenting on it. And what I love about this story is it's not just retelling A Christmas Carol, but it serves as a critique on the way modern Batman has been written in a lot of ways. In the pursuit of trying to make Batman this super cool, super badass character, a lot of the times writers will just depict him as this hyper violent psychopath who beats on criminals because he loves violence and all this stuff, when I don't know, I always kind of cringed at that depiction of Batman, because yes, we love seeing Batman being cool and kicking butt and taking names and all this, but come on, at the end of the day, in my opinion anyway, he should still be a symbol of hope to the people, a symbol of inspiration. He should still have compassion to some degree, and then save the fear and the intimidation for the criminals and stuff. But the way they do the whole ghosts of Christmas in this story is they start pulling in characters from Batman's lore. So, he's confronted by Catwoman at first, and she's kind of the metaphorical ghost of Christmas past in this story, saying stuff like, oh God, you used to be so much fun. You used to enjoy this so much more. Now you're all serious and angry all the time. And then later we have other characters who appear. We may have an appearance from the Man of Steel himself in here. And just the way all these characters are drawn, man, it's so well done. If you're looking for a nice little Christmas story, the Christmas gift even for a friend, and they're a comic book nerd, this is really, really great. I don't want to spoil the rest of the story, the other ghosts, for example, or anything like that. But I guess I can say, one of the big criticism in the story is Batman's relentlessly pursuing this sort of really basic street level criminal, to try to lead him to the bigger fish, so to speak. But then, all these other characters are this, what are you doing? This guy has a family, this guy has a kid. Superman appears and starts criticizing Batman. God, I love the way Superman is drawn in contrast to Batman. Just this hopeful aura versus Batman's very cold and dark persona, I guess, for lack of a better term. But yeah, if you haven't read this story before, or if you haven't seen or experienced Lee Bermejo's artwork, definitely something to check out, especially during the holidays here. For the extras in this deluxe edition, we don't have too many, but we do have some really cool commentary here by Lee Bermejo, because this is written and drawn by him, so he was, basically the guy at the helm of this story. He's talking about his process here, some of the art, but also, some of the writing, some of the themes, comparing some of the story similarities to the story A Christmas Carol, and, what each bits of the story represent. And then we close off here with some bits about the creators involved. And that's it for your short extra section. As for build quality here, we have 186 pages in this deluxe edition. You can see we have a glued binding here, so you do get some gutter loss, unfortunately for that. God, I love this scene. Sorry, but there's this bit where Superman's like, what are you going to do about the boy? And Batman's like, I'm going to scare him. Scare him so badly he doesn't dare ever follow in his father's footsteps. And Superman's like, I don't think that's the way to go here. I love this, just the way it criticizes that sort of hyper-violent depiction of Batman. But anyway, I'm getting carried away. Back to the build quality. So, we do have these pretty good glossy pages in this deluxe edition. So I never noticed any instances of color bleeding through the page or anything like that. The thickness is all you really need for this book. Like I mentioned already about the gutter loss, you can see some examples of that because of the glued binding. But then again, the book is so small that, the binding doesn't really matter that much. So I'm pretty happy with the build quality of this book. But here we are at the end of the review, so it's time for some closing thoughts. So as I said, if you're a comic book fan and you're trying to get into the Christmas spirit a little bit, this is just really the perfect blend of that. Comics and Christmas and Batman, it's great. Or maybe you've got a friend who's into comics. This could certainly make a nice little Christmas gift for them. But beyond that, even if it isn't Christmas, on its own, this is a really well-written story. It's really good and beautifully drawn by Lee Bermejo as well, with his signature art style. And I love the themes and the story, the message behind this story being that, Batman, despite, being a very intimidating force for criminals, he shouldn't solely be portrayed as like this violent, merciless psychopath. That shouldn't be his the only thing about him. He still has to be able to inspire hope in people and be compassionate when it counts. And that's, it's something I think is missing from a lot of modern depictions of Batman, but it's so well depicted in here. It's an excellent critique. But that's been my review of the Batman Noel Deluxe Edition, so you let me know what you thought about this book, the story itself. If you have any questions about this book at all, leave them down below. I hope you have a happy holiday season with your friends, your family, your loved ones. I hope to catch you in another video real soon, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have yourself a great day, great Christmas break. I've been Superfly Comics Guy, and until next time, you keep reading. Bye-bye, guys.